Hey guys, today I want to talk about JDG versus LNG in Game 1. I want to talk about the team fight that led to JDG breaking this game open and being able to win in the next 3 minutes. The goal of talking about this today is to try and analyze JDG's team fighting. Everybody talks about JDG as these unbeatable team fighters. They are super strong in the team fight themselves. And I want to try to break down a little bit and try to understand a little bit more how they are so good in the team fight and understand what it means to be these team fighting giants that they are. So we're going to take a look at this fight right here that breaks the game open and see what we can learn. To start talking about this team fight, let's start looking at the team's drafts going into this game. So looking at the JDG side, they have K'Sante top lane, Vi jungle, Orianna mid, and Zeri Lulu bot lane. This is a really strong team fighting team, but why is that? So the further they get into the game, everyone knows Zeri Lulu is going to scale really hard into the game. That is because Zeri is a champion that just gets stronger and stronger, is very reliant on her items, and she gets a lot more damage numbers in the later game when she can have more uptime in these team fights with a front line in front of her. And the Lulu with her, an enchanter with a champion like Zeri, just means that they will have more uptime, right? They get these shields, the heals, they get a little bit of peel or attack speed bonus with Lulu's W. They get a bunch of benefits to increasing their uptime. And so Zeri will get a lot more uptime in these fights because of Lulu. Along with that, he has the shielding from Orianna as well. And Orianna herself, really strong right now on this patch, does a lot of damage, especially with her ultimate, and is a really good, strong, peeling control mage for your carry like Zeri. Vi, traditionally a diver, but her ultimate and her Q can be used to single out a target that's trying to get onto your carries and lock them down. And K'Sante, besides doing K'Sante things, is a really strong peeling tank. Very, very tanky, can withstand a lot of punishment, and has a lot of CC to help peel for your carries. So LNG's team comp, on the other hand, they have the Camille top lane, Lee Sin jungle, Akali mid lane, and the Kai'Sa and Alistar bot lane. So this is a team that really wants to dive onto the enemy team in a team fight, with the champions like Camille to single out a 1v1, Akali with her smokescreen and tons of dashes and mobility really wants to dive onto the carry and get damage onto them. Lee Sin as well can follow up those divers, along with Alistar and Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa with her ultimate can follow up, get really close, and get a lot of burst onto a single person. And Alistar as well is going to be looking for these big combos in these fights, looking to soak damage with his Radiant. Well, with that, let's start talking about the items, since I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit. Let's first look at LNG's breakpoints going into this fight. LNG has 2.5 items on their carry, 80 carry. Scout is behind. He has only his finished mythic and doesn't have his second item completed. Tarzan has 2 items completed, with the Black Cleaver and Gore Drinker making him very tanky in these long fights. And Camille has her Divine Sunderer. She doesn't have her second item, but the Divine Sunderer is where a lot of her damage is coming from. And Hong has the Radiant Virtue, so he's looking to, again, sustain in these fights a little bit longer. JDG's items on their carries. Knight on Orianna does have 2 finished completed items, and he has the Crown as well on top of that. So the Crown is really strong in this dive comp because the initial dive, the initial damage, he'll be able to make it through that. And along with that, he also has the stopwatch now, so he can buy a lot of time being dove on top of. So he's not the primary target that LNG is going to be looking for this fight because of that. Kanavi on Vi also has 2 finished completed items, and 369 only has his mythic and a half item, but that's enough for him to be really tanky. Ruler has 2.5 items, just like Gala, so he is also going to be pumping a lot of damage. And Missing has the Shirelias on his Lulu, and the healing reduction item with the little orb there. So he has healing reduction coming through for the Radiant Virtue, right? If he can hit Q on these people, there's also the Gore Drinker and Divine Sunder. There is a decent amount of healing, but if you are playing Lulu, you have your Q. You don't really want to use your E for damage, so we'll see. I don't know how much that's really going to impact this fight, but you notice right here, why is JDG forcing this Baron at this time, 24 minutes, when they have vision in the river here, but they don't really have, they have push down bot here, but their tank is on 1.5 items, their carry isn't on 3 items yet. This is maybe a weird time to force, but like I said, Scout is missing his Shadow Flame completion right now, and he's kind of missing a lot of damage for that. As far as everything else go, all summoners are up for all players, so there isn't really like a force there or not. They are forcing completely on this single item breaking point from Scout. As we get started here, and as JDG starts getting damage onto it, we're going to want to pay attention to the positioning at where everybody's at when Baron is on death row right here, right? So as we look around, we can see Scout and Zika are trying to pincer from the top, while Gala and Hong pincer from the bot lane. And Tarzan is going to be looking for a steal over the wall here. So in a 50-50, while it is still very coin flippy on who's going to smite this dragon, it is going to be whether Kanavi or Tarzan just lands this smite better. Lee Sin, with the execute damage from his Q, is technically favored in this 50-50. So as these carries start coming down from LNG to start pincering, you're going to notice 369 and missing. They're going to stay out of the pit, and a little bit with Knight. Knight is going to stay out of the pit slightly to try and peel these guys off and let Kanavi and Ruler finish the Baron. And while they do this, Hong is going to come in and hit a really big knockup, and Zika is going to look for damage onto missing here, right? So Tarzan goes in, he isn't able to get the Baron, but you can see Hong hits this 3-man Q here, gets a lot of CC down on them, and Gala is still feeling the pressure of 369 and Knight, so he can only play at the edge of his range. And while everyone's knocked up here and Zeke is getting damage on the missing, the items from Knight coming out, buying a lot of time, he's going to take almost no damage from this combo with his crown, even though Gala is hitting him. And then he's going to stopwatch immediately when he can, and that's going to buy even more time for Gala not doing damage. And meanwhile, while all this is happening, Missing is going to get back into the pit with his flash, and Scout is going to start walking. So Tarzan goes in and misses the flip, but he has stopwatch as well. So he is now pressing stopwatch to buy time for his team. And what Scout wants to do here is he wants to get onto, or he also sees this. He sees that Tarzan is buying time. And Scout wants to go into the pit to go onto Ruler with Tarzan in this moment, because with his mobility, he can get further than 369, Knight, and Missing can right now. And if Tarzan kicks Ruler out of the pit here, which he wants to do, Scout can go over the wall with Ruler and Tarzan, and they can try to kill him through the CC on the other side of the wall. And Tarzan and Scout together, this Lee Sin and Akali pick, really strong together 2v2. But what you'll notice is Missing flashes into the pit, and the moment that Scout is in this position, JDG completely changes, and everybody is calling to go on to Scout. And even though Tarzan also sees this, he does a great job of kicking Ruler out of the pit. So even though Scout is about to get turned on, half of JDG's carries are going to be doing no damage to him because Ruler was not going to be in the pit for a few seconds. So as Scout goes in, you can see Missing and Kanavi are immediately going to turn. Missing is going to polymorph, and Kanavi is going to press his ult. And then the follow-up of that is going to be 369 coming over to ult him to continue the chain CC, and Knight is also going to Shockwave Flash to finish him off. So, seeing that play out really quick, you can see Scout instantly gets polymorphed, ulted, Shockwave, knocked around, is almost unplayable for him. He cannot move. And there's almost like nothing his team can really do to stop this. Hong has used all of his cooldowns outside of the pit. He's waiting like maybe 5 more seconds for his cooldowns to come back up. Gala is back here. Maybe Gala can position more aggressively, but he's scared of getting caught by the shockwave himself. And Zika does a good job. He still stays on Knight, and he buffers the shockwave by ulting him himself. He just did not expect the flash coming out from Knight. So you can see Zika buffers the shockwave to get onto Knight and try to lock him down, but the flash gets him in a terrible position. And while all this happens, once the kick CC fades from Ruler, he can jump right back over the pit. And Gali, even with his flash and ult up, just cannot find a way into this fight. And at this point, when Scout dies here, you can see LNG still is trying to turn this on the Knight, trade 1 for 1. But the second Ruler comes over, him and the damage from Cassante from 369 are also able to burst down Tarzan. And 369 hits a 2-man Q3 from Cassante that knocks up Hong and Zika. He hits this Q3 when Alistar's combo is coming back up off cooldown. Because in this moment right here, if this Q3 does not come out, Alistar has an opportunity to hit an insane combo here that can turn the fight. Because Gala still has flash, Gala still has ultimate, he just needs some CC to land on the Ruler so that he can hit him for free. But 369 hits this Q3 right here, CC's Hong, Zika flashes on the Knight, still gets the trade, but Hong then doesn't get the chance to hit a really nice combo because it's already over, right? The damage is already done. And you can see right after this, even with Zika flashing on the Knight there, 369 is going to turn on the Gala and push him out of the fight while the rest of his team cleans this mess up. And Gala is just not able to really participate in this, zoned by different various things, right? And even though Han gets the combo on the Ruler and missing at the end, like I said, there's no damage. So watching the whole thing again, Scout gets CC'd. The turn is super quick. The CC is great. And Ruler just has no threat on him the entire fight. And so yeah, after this fight, JDG breaks apart the game. They go immediately straight up to the inhibitor tower, or the top outer tower, inner tower, push all the way to the Nexus, and are not stopped. And all things said, I do think JDG played this fight extremely well. Their turn on the Scout when he goes in is near immediately missing, and Kanavi pressing their buttons instantly to CC him and lock him down. And Ruler with the buffer on his ult gets his damage out even though he's not in there. Knight buying so much time with his items and his stopwatch and his crown, doing so much work in this fight. And you can see, the one thing I will say about it is while Akali goes in and does get turned on, you can see if Knight doesn't have these exact items, the damage that Gala outputs here when he flashes forward, and Zika as well, he's almost dead out of the flash, right? And if he didn't have the crown and the stopwatch to buy that time, he would have died, right? So JDG just really smart with their item purchase, really smart with their positioning, and really smart with their targeting, and super quick on the reactions to target these champions in the fight. And that is what JDG makes. That's got to be one of their strengths for team fighting, right? Is their reaction speeds to the calls that they make, and the way they all turn onto one target and get them down so fast. Yeah, so this is a quick little breakdown. Thanks for watching. I hope if you learned anything about JDG in this, post a comment below. Let me know what you learned. I know I just want to make a quick little video to see, just talk about JDG a little bit, talk about Worlds. Worlds so far has been pretty awesome. I'm hoping to talk a lot more about it in the coming week. So I'll see you then.